Trump got himself in some hot water with us pro-lifers, but I'm going to give you a case for why Trump is still the most pro-life president. This is evidence because there's a lot of people now saying they can't support him. This could put Trump's win in the primary of Iowa in jeopardy. Stick with me for a second. I'm Doug TenNapel. This is Doug in Exile. We talk about the news. I'd love to have you guys subscribe, but it's more important that you watch because this is going to be good information. Here's Trump in an interview really pooping the bed on abortion.
Mr. President, I want to give voters who are going to be weighing in on this election a very clear sense.
This is already an issue where she would never clarify this with a Democrat candidate. What week would you not allow an abortion and pin them down? Pin down Biden, pin down Kamala. She'd never ask this of them. So this is already unfair, even that she's pinning Trump down, knowing she's going to get him.
I think they're all going to like me. I think both sides are going to like me.
Trump just gave his standard, which is both sides are going to like me. Number one, I really think he believes this, and he's totally wrong on this. Both sides are not ever going to like you. We can't even get one side to like you, okay? Being liked is not any kind of a standard that we should be going for.
What's going to have to happen is you're going to have to, listen, you're asking me a question. What's going to happen is you're going to come up with a number of weeks or months. You're going to come up with a number that's going to make people happy.
I can't for the life of me think of what number would make people happy. He's way wrong on this standard. He has been more pro-life, but the problem is Trump, he doesn't always understand what he says, and I don't think he always fully believes the repercussions of what he says. I believe he's trying to do it with his gut, but he can't be more wrong on this. And abortion is a principle that just kind of sits outside of the way Trump thinks as a populist, and all populists, by the way.
Because 92% of the Democrats don't want to see abortion after a certain period of time.
If
that certain period of time would be when the child is 4 years old.
A federal ban landed on your desk, if you were reelected, would you sign it at 15
weeks? Are you talking about a complete ban?
A ban at 15 weeks.
Well, people are starting to think of 15 weeks. That seems to be a number that people are talking about right now.
Would you sign that?
I would sit down with both sides and I'd negotiate something, and we'll end up with peace on that issue for the first time in 52 years. I'm not going to say I would or I wouldn't.
That's not leadership. That's not clear. And that might just be how Trump ends up winning.
I mean, DeSantis is willing to sign a 5-week and 6-week ban.
Would you support that? You think that goes too far?
I think what he did is a terrible thing and a terrible mistake.
Okay, that's unclear. I don't know if he thinks it's a terrible mistake because it would be unpopular, or if he thinks it's a terrible mistake because on principle, he doesn't think we should be constitutionally going after abortion at the federal level. When you have life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness with life. But I'm just saying that means a federal ban from a fertilized egg as a human being. That's my belief system. Okay, and by the way, that is the only pro-life position. So everyone else who calls themselves pro-life, including DeSantis, you are lying in calling yourself pro-life and being for an abortion at 6 weeks. That's a compromise, okay? Same with Tim Scott. Every Republican candidate in our lifetime, let's be clear, there's never been a pro-life Republican candidate. Reagan wasn't, Bush wasn't, Trump isn't, okay? So just so you know, perfection on the abortion issue, no one's ever stood up and said, ban this thing, and I mean zero compromise. Pence won't do it, Nikki Haley won't do it. So all of the good guys are effing compromised. So don't give me this, my guy's 10% less than your guy, okay? We start from a point of they're all soiled on this issue. Just imagine if it was the Second Amendment right, going, we're going to get both sides to come up with a happy compromise on the Second Amendment or on the First Amendment. This is the right to life. I'm a no compromise guy. Now, Trump, huge compromise, but I'm going to tell you why. He's still the most pro-life of all of the non-pro-life presidents. It's the Supreme Court, Mexico City policy. But here's Trump earlier when he was being a lot more pro-lifey to March for Life people.
We cannot know what our citizens yet unborn will achieve, the dreams they will imagine, the masterpieces they will create, the discoveries they will make, But we know this: every life brings love into this world. Every child brings joy to a family. Every person is worth protecting.
By the way, none of that is pro-life, what he's saying. This is pro-life.
And above all, we know that every human soul is divine, and every human life, born and unborn, is made in the holy image of Almighty God.
Where did that guy go?
Together, we will defend this truth all across our magnificent land. We will set free the dreams of our people. And with determined hope, we look forward to all of the blessings that will come from the beauty, talent, purpose, nobility, and grace of every American child.
Now, let me make that argument very, very clear, and why I will still be supporting Trump, or whichever Republican. DeSantis could do it. I'd support him too on the same premise. But Trump has actually demonstrated the most pro-life record of any president. If he just did what he did before, and I believe he will still be the most pro-life president in my lifetime. In spite of him saying, I'll do an abortion ban at whatever, DeSantis is dumb for initiating a federal abortion ban. President's job really doesn't affect abortion. The kind of things presidents can do is presidential orders. They can green light or stop things like the Mexico City policy. What's the Mexico City policy? It's one of the prime indicators of if you're pro-life or not. Here's the policy according to Wikipedia. The Mexico City policy, sometimes referred to by its critics as the global gag rule, is a former United States government policy that blocked U.S. federal funding for non-governmental organizations, NGOs, that provided abortion counseling or referrals advocating to decriminalize abortion or expand abortion services. That goes for other countries. And the president, this is what the president is made for. You can green light this, or you can stop it. So let's look at the record of here's our pro-life presidents. So the day they go into office, they either turn on or turn off the Mexico City policy. So in 1985, President Ronald Reagan initiates the policy, okay, and stops funding of abortion. Here's the policy was rescinded in 1993 by Bill Clinton because he's pro-choice. And then it was reinstituted in January 2001 by President George Bush, who was right on this issue. Then it was rescinded in 2009 by Barack Obama. Again, first day of his presidency, they go right back to funding abortions overseas. And then reinstated in January 2017 by President Donald Trump. He did what all of our right-leaning Republicans should do on life. That's a presidential issue. It's something well within his ability, and he instantly did it. That is an instant pro-life thing that is in the president's control. The second obvious one is the Supreme Court. And I just want to show you, President Trump is the most pro-life conservative of all of our presidents ever if you look at the Supreme Court. Here's President Ronald Reagan. There's Bork that got crossed out because he didn't get, his nomination was rescinded. He only got Scalia, who is the most significant, but he's the only pro-life that won. Look, there's Anthony Kennedy, pro-choice, Rehnquist, choice, Sandra Day O'Connor wrote pro-choice. President Reagan only got 25%. He contributed the least to overturning Roe. So that's everyone's big hero. But I love Reagan. He's a hero of mine. But I'm telling you, on the Supreme Court, he's got a 1 out of 4 record. Here's President George H.W. Bush, where everyone calls him a traitor and a terrible and a fake conservative. Even he got 50%. That's better than Reagan. He gave us Clarence Thomas, the #1 most pro-life justice on the court right now. Screwed up and gave us Souter. Here's President George W. Bush. Also, traitor, sellout, terrible. He gave us Sam Alito. He gave us John Roberts, who's sort of conservative, but still did better than Dad. And then here's President Trump, 100% pro-life Supreme Court justices. Amy Coney Barrett, Brett Kavanaugh, Neil Gorsuch. I got to tell you guys, where presidents count, Trump might have saved the entire DNA of America at the Constitution level for his 3 Supreme Court justices. I hope he does it again. Now, DeSantis can promise he's going to do it, but DeSantis can't prove that he can win the primary. That's my biggest problem with him. I love DeSantis. I'll vote for him all day. He can't win the primary. William F. Buckley says you must be the most conservative candidate who can win, and that includes the primary. And if DeSantis can't win the primary, it's not the voters' fault. It's not Trump's fault. It's DeSantis's fault because he won't cut off the gloves and learn to throw a punch at Trump and throw it hard. He won't do it. So guess what, Wussy? You're not capable for battle. Go sit down. We'll stick with Trump, the most pro-life candidate, huge asterisk by that we could vote for. I'm Doug in exile.